All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, welcome, one and all, wherever you are in the world. Good to see you here. We're going to be having some fun with some land battles, of course, in Total War Warhammer 3 today. We've got Friday night fights by Cool Umbrella, and lots of friends of the channel and patrons, regular submitters of replays in this tournament. So not going to be too long either. There's not a ton of people, but definitely some good matchups right off the bat. So let's see here. Let's try and get in on the lobbies. The tournament is just getting started. We're going to be casting from the beginning. So we'll wait for the games to get hosted. All the participants are now getting matched up and getting their lobbies hosted, so bear with me just a minute here. We'll be getting started very shortly, but good to see you all today. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Yeah, it should be fun. I've been not playing as much Total War Warhammer multiplayer myself lately. Definitely been enjoying some Age of Wonders. I'm trying to figure out what format I want to do to cover that game, because it's awesome and I really enjoy it, and it's definitely worth covering. Already got some ideas, but just in terms of you know, kind of regular basis content, I'm not sure exactly what that would look like. Maybe some cut down campaign gameplay, but that's going to be pretty time intensive for me to do. I might just do build guides, but there's already a lot of people doing that. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Maybe some multiplayer content. So let's see here. Yeah, unfortunately, the battle browser interface in Total War Warhammer is not spectacular, so probably have to have people manually invite me. Let's see here. Take a look at the bracket, which is live now. So yeah, just waiting. We got Ryder Rohan in today. We can get in with him. Cool Umbrella himself. World Beater here in chat. The Norm. There's quite a few that we could try and jump in, so we'll just wait for them to get all hosted here. Wait for those spectator slots to open up. All right. It's hot, pretty fresh. Okay, let's see here. Maybe I can do it this way. So Age of Wonders, yes. It's basically a Civ-like, more or less. It has some elements of quite a few different games, I would say, but it's just really fun, to be honest. Very intuitive. I mean, there's quite a bit to learn, but at the same time, it's not that hard to pick up. Definitely deep to master, and just in general is quite a bit of fun, so I'll definitely be covering it soon. And let's see here. Okay, I should be able to see Ryder Rohan's game now. I wanted to hop in there and get some high elf action. Let's see. Play now. here. Hello everyone. Yeah, still just waiting for people to open up spec slots. I mean, I see some lobbies have been matched up, but I still don't have anyone with spectator slots open, so... Yeah, I mean, I see one lobby on my entire list here that has a spectator slot open, and it's not related to the tournament, so if people could go ahead and open some spectator slots in literally any of these lobbies, that would be fantastic. Also make sure I have a screen blocker set up. I don't want to be giving away people's builds here if I join in and we're scoping out. What is my blocker right now, actually? Nope, that's not correct. Okay, let's change that. Okay, go. Better there. Okay. Go ahead and refresh this, and I should be able to get in here now. Okay, so we are... Cool. Cool. So we're in now. We're going to be spectating. Rider of Rohan, of course, taking High Elves first. Looks like Raced is on Beastmen. So get started with this one. And it should be quite a bit of fun. Let's get this transitioned on over. Look at that. Yes, I guess I can take this pro blocker off now, since I actually did switch it over just map views for not giving away any builds. So yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well. It's been a nice week for me overall. Definitely got some stuff done. Had some time off of work. So I've been just kind of getting like life chore stuff done. Looks like gonna be what, High Elves, Dark Elves? Okay, so Race not taking Beastmen, and in fact gonna take Dark Elves. Very appropriate matchup. We're on Peak Pass, so should be in for a good time. Yeah, it's been fun. What have we been doing this week? Yeah, Age of Wonders. Just, you know, regular boring life stuff. Do people win money here? No, I don't think so. Cool Umbrella can enlighten us. I don't think there's check that. So if anyone's curious, here's the bracket. And I guess if I had read the description, like, you know, one actual tournament participants, might be money. Let me actually check here up at the top. So just in case you guys also want to see the participants today, I don't think there's a prize. But yeah, it's mostly just for fun. Just to get a little bit of competitive gameplay, a little bit of competitive land battles. Be a good time. We're here for me on a Friday afternoon. For the Europeans, Friday evening, of course. Hence the name, Friday Night Fights. And yeah, hopefully you guys have some fun plans for the weekend. Gonna be doing some family stuff, of course. Here in the US, it's Mother's Day on Sunday, so lots of family plans for the weekend. Also gonna be hitting the Age of Wonders pretty hard. Gonna record some more Warhammer content for you all, of course, as well. Probably try and get some Warhammer games in myself so I don't get too rusty. Try and keep my skills up and increase knowledge, of course, about various matchups. I really want to study especially some Empire matchups. I don't have a great feel for where they're at right now, besides just that War Wagons are the way. But I'm trying to figure out, you know, ways to play without War Wagons, potentially. So it seems tricky, for sure, in certain matchups. Yes, there are events for money, like the BBB tournament, which is still ongoing, actually. The finals, kind of playoffs are ongoing, and you may have seen, like, I've casted a series. There have been some series on some other channels, including the BBB official channel, so be sure to check all that out. The finals should be coming up pretty soon. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is for that yet, but definitely will watch for that. So yeah, just chilling here on a Friday, having some fun. Who knows? Yeah, honestly, I'm thinking like multiplayer streams would be pretty fun for Age of Wonders. Honestly haven't played that much multiplayer yet. I've been mostly focused on just playing single player, trying to learn various aspects, and mostly just try stuff too. Um, yeah, probably will put together some multiplayer content soon once I get a little bit more experience in that. But so far, it's been pretty chill overall. No Turn's been doing some 1v1 content on his channel. And just in general, seems like yeah, I mean, it's like top of the Steam charts right now, so definitely would recommend it personally. If you like grand strategy, has some elements of Civ, but it's more akin to, I don't know, like if you've played Endless Legends or obviously the old Age of Wonders, has kind of some Heroes Might Magic elements as well. But yeah, I'll probably just do like a basic breakdown video for beginners and then start making content on it. But yeah, it's a Civ-like. Also has some Total War elements, honestly, in the fact that like there's the grand campaign map, right? But when you fight a battle, it zooms into a tactical map, which is still turn-based, so it's not exactly like Total War. But you know, gives you that sort of dual level of tactical and strategic gameplay, which is quite a bit of fun actually. And personally, I enjoy turn-based tactical games as well. I don't play them a ton, haven't played them at all actually on the channel, like, you know, like XCOM. It's probably the most popular in that genre that, you know, if you haven't played any others, might have played or at least heard of XCOM. But those tactical games are turn-based tactical games, definitely a lot of fun. But anyway, here we've got, of course, real-time, you could say tactical game, strategy in a sense, but anyway, we've got some spearmen up front for Ryder Rohan, coming in with Tyrion, of course, Mage of Fire. Talked a little bit about this recently, him and I haven't made a video about it yet, but Fire is just really good right now, and I think for most factions that have access to it, there's not a lot of reason to take other lores for the time being. If you're just looking for damage, which most of the time is the most efficient thing to do, especially when you have units that can self-heal, but we do have mostly just cheap stuff. Frostheart doesn't have self-healing, but still relatively tanky, and some Rangers as well. Some Reavers, yeah, a lot of Sea Guard, good stuff. Taking a look at Wraiths, Raced Dark Elves. Supreme Sorceress of Dark up in the air, and the Master. This is an interesting choice. I mean, if you're going to do this, you might as well just go with Malekith, I feel like. Malekith has just more upside. He is more expensive, but it's not that much more expensive. I don't know, unless I'm missing something here. The Master also on the Pegasus. Interesting choice, just anti-large AP, no abilities, just as cheap as possible with that flying mount. Scourge Runner Chariot, we got one of them only, it looks like. Yeah, just one Tasteful Scourge Runner, 3 Cold One Knights, some Witch Elves out of the flanks, center of Corsairs, and 2 Dark Shards, one with shields, one without, to save on that cost. So very interesting. Definitely going to be a rush-oriented build here, and I'm curious to see. Definitely the use case of the magic is going to be very important for Ryder Rohan here, how he's able to utilize that Lure of Fire, try and deal with the infantry superiority, because, I mean, Rangers will get murdered by Witch Elves. They'll trade okay, but it's not great. Same with Corsairs. So the infantry rush is definitely pretty threatening from Raced here, but... Oh, whoops, I totally forgot to update the names. Thank you for reminding me here. We got... No, not this. Okay. Yes, in fact, yes, there we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. Yes, super professional, guys. It's okay, we've got some time as these two players advance. Not a lot going on the battlefield, honestly. But, yes. Not Trider Rohan, Ryder Rohan. There we go. And adjust that real quick. Cool. So we also got the factions here. Elves. And here the Dwarf Elves. Of course. Absolutely. So try and remember to actually update that before the game starts next time, but there we are. You know, get it all adjusted eventually. That was a fun stream for sure, though. I was endless debates about such a topic, but yeah, so far Race just kind of probing a little bit here, not doing too much damage, but Rider Rohan more or less sticking to his formation, which is definitely smart. Try and keep everything supporting, but this Frostheart Phoenix is a really nice choice. If it gets in range with that chilling aura and the Frostbite, which it definitely has the speed to, this Scourge Runner is pretty screwed. It's not going to be able to get away. Although, Rider Rohan has to be careful not to overextend these units too far and get them caught out without support. Definitely needs to advance his entire kind of infantry army up in case they get surrounded. Might get a good blob opportunity, honestly, especially if the Witch Elves were to charge in. But even the Cold One Knights focus fire with that many bows, they're going to take some serious damage. So let's see how it plays out here. Yeah, looks like Tyrion does take the fight. The Dragon also gonna get a Soul Stealer here. Phoenix moves in. Oh, is that a Flamestorm? Oh, please tell me that's a Flamestorm just to nuke this unit of Old One Knights. Beautiful value. That's going to be, yeah, that's like 500 value on a single cast already. Maybe even more as they start to kind of pull through it and just take additional damage. So really nice Flamestorm there. Will it actually overrun into this column? Oh, no. Oh, please, Race, don't do it. Don't do it, Race. No, Race. No, there we go. Okay, he does dodge. I was very worried there that that was going to be an absolute disaster. But even still, that's like 1,000 damage value, more or less, on a single cast there. It doesn't show that much per se, but I mean, more or less, the Cold One Knight is completely ruined, so really, really nice little bait and switch tactic there by Rider Rohan to pull off a bunch of damage, more or less for free. I mean, the Phoenix has taken some damage, which is not great. There's no way to recover that, but at the same time, it's not crazy at risk here, as long as he can get away from those Dark Shards and not just take a big volley. This is pretty dangerous, though, being within range of the Dark Shards. The Scourge Runners also are going to do a lot of damage to the Frostheart over time, but look at that little hard land right there to try and dodge some of those shots. Rider Rohan definitely looking pretty good so far, but yeah, in this kind of skirmish fight, I'm not loving the Dark Elves' chances. I definitely think they should just rush in, but right now he's trying to use his missile units to pick off these high-value targets before engaging, but it's leading to him just taking a lot of army damage overall. Rider Rohan's up more than double the army damage right now, so yeah, the Witch Elves in particular would be a great target for focus fire at this exact second, but we'll see. They're still going to take some damage kind of passively moving in, but it's like the Reavers are going to get deployed here. Rangers at least do get the counter charge. That's pretty good. Let's kind of keep the health bars up and see what happens. Tyrion and the Phoenix also going to fight in the front line, leading to them taking some missile damage and a nice little cheeky Soul Stealer. So Raised is definitely punching back. Not going quietly, but those Witch Elves end up taking actually pretty extreme damage from the Rangers. I did not expect that. I thought that would be a much less cost-effective trade, but they're doing okay for the time being. One unit of Corsairs also gets routed off, but yeah, a lot of damage right now. Oh, and that Flamestorm in the back line just wrecks one unit of Dark Shards. Love to see that, but Rider Rohan so far is not doing a good job of focusing his archers. Definitely needs to get them all on one control group and just focus fire targets. You can really burst them down very quickly that way. That said, you know, he's kind of doing okay on this flank. He's pushing back with the spears. Raised is having some problems here as, you know, both are kind of turning the other's flank to a degree. The spears are here to shore up the line for the High Elves, and the Cold One Knights are trying to push back this advance for the Dark Elves. They do get the pop for Murderous Prowess at that point. Definitely going to help them. Let's see, as they countercharge back in here, there's still the spears just kind of standing here, but at the very least, they should be able to defeat the Reavers, rather, but I'm not sure why exactly they'd be pulling away. I would definitely just commit to this engagement. Even with the spears there, as long as you can deal with those Reavers and then get out before you take too much damage, should be just fine. It looks like Tyrion did get the Heart of Avalorn proc, but the Phoenix is still alive. Yes, it is still alive, so very important. Taking some Soul Stealer damage, though, which is not great, but let's see how Race is able to use his flying units. He's managed to claw his way back in terms of army damage values. That initial kind of skirmish advantage that Rider Rohan was able to gain is more or less gone at this point. but a little bit of healing on both sides as well from the characters. So let's see. These Reavers can get out in space and maybe shut down some of these archers, but Race is just holding his Cold One Knights back, which on the one hand I understand to protect the Dark Shards, but at the same time, losing that power spike of Murderous Prowess, which is only another 30 seconds, is pretty painful. That's one of the best units you can possibly use it on, honestly, but another Flamestorm unleashed here is not going to do a super amount of damage initially, but does come and just roll over these two Corsairs and absolutely massacre them. See if it does some friendly fire as well. Finish off this one weakened Lothern Seaguard, but wow, some Flamestorm's serious value today so far, really showcasing the effectiveness of that spell. Burning Head is also very good against lower armor targets. With Dark Elves, I would probably take that as well, but ooh, looks like Race going to try and go for the kill here. While Tyrion's affected by the Madness of Cain, his melee defense is debuffed, but it looks like it wears off just in time for the dragon to kind of slowly, weirdly land in here. And now it's going to be 2v1, and while, yeah, the Phoenix is probably going to get killed pretty soon in this engagement. Looks like Tyrion also takes massive damage at that point, so oof, Race might have just won the game with that engagement, honestly. Especially with the Master still being so healthy. Tyrion gets terrified away, Master charges in, and the Cold One Knights in a nice surround here. So the reserve of Cold One Knights ends up paying off really well, supporting this heroic engagement. Very well done by Race there. Yeah, a little breath attack here on these Lothern Sea Guards. Gonna do some nice damage right through the center of them. Rangers trying to stabilize the situation, but the loss of leadership, I think, is catastrophic for Rite of Rohan, unfortunately, here. And, yeah, the Flamestorm is going to, again, come in and do some really nice damage. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I think the damage that Tyrion and the Phoenix took kind of incidentally throughout the match from these Dark Shards ended up being pretty important there in that final engagement. They didn't have the HP left to try and fight the dragon and the Master at the same time, especially. So it's definitely tough, but let's see the value here on the Mage. Yeah, 13, 9, what is that, 13, 17? Yeah, pretty good. I almost wonder, though, if it had been all Burning Heads, that would have turned out a little bit differently. Hard to say, but great game to both, honestly. Nice back and forth there. Rite of Rohan was sort of the early advantage, seemingly, but Race able to claw his way back fairly effectively. Lothern Seaguard all get some really nice value. The Rangers, I mean, they do okay, but they kind of just get run over here to a degree. The Spearmen also more or less just roadblocks, glorified. Whereas on the Dark Elves side, I mean, the Dragon Sorceress definitely got some really nice value. Race was able to recover that well and continue to use her. Great effect. The Cold One Knights, the one that was held in reserve and helped with the heroic engagement, definitely was super clutch. And then the Witch Elves, a little bit of a mixed bag, but they're okay. Corsairs were fairly well limited. Dark Shards, again, contributed enough, and especially, although it's not a lot of damage value, it is specifically damage value on these high value targets, which is super important. So yeah, very interesting. Tyrion himself didn't end up getting all that much value. I don't know that he's the greatest pick in the world here. I know Rite of Rohan likes to use him just for fun, but anyway. Let's go ahead and get to... Is it it? Is it just the best of one? Oh yeah, best of one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get in with the next game. Let's see here. Refresh the scoreboard. And we could go in with Nurgle's PA and Race again. Or you haven't started yet, Cool Umbrella, I guess. Could get in with Cool. Let's see here. Uh, okay. Yeah, I think Nurgle's is up against Race next end. So, um, here. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So the finals is a best of three. So we'll have some games to get through. I do have a replay also of a previous round if we need to. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so same lobby we're just in. Let's jump back in with Raced and see. Oop, go ahead and switch off that build real quick. I don't think that was a real build anyway, but okay, I'm in. We can do this one next, and then we'll go with, yeah, we'll try and jump in with Cool Umbrella in the semifinals. Let's see, the winner of this one will go on to face World Beater, the winner of World Beater versus Super Mario Fried Chicken, which is definitely a great name. In the semis on the other side of the bracket, and then we're still waiting on Lenorm versus Altharian Shades. The winner of that will play Bellicor. The winner of that goes on to play Cool Umbrella. So we're all set for some rounds of fun. Yes. Guess I should update the scoreboard to reflect the fact that Raced did indeed win. So everyone can take a second to appreciate that, and then I'll immediately reset it to the current players here. Let's go with yes. Nope. Okay. There we go. Raced, I actually don't have to change his position at all, which is just perfect. Excellent. Yeah, Hellebron seems pretty decent. Um, yeah, she's all right. It's definitely decent. I still think probably other Dark Elf lords are better, but actually I've heard a lot of people having success with her on foot, which is really not what I expected. I think mostly just because she's so cheap, and she has really fast attack animations on foot. Like, back in the day, famously, I tested her against Grimgor, and she absolutely murdered him. Although I think that would definitely turn out differently now. Just the fact that she does have such fast attack animations, she has really strong support abilities as well. And on foot, she's not that expensive. I don't know. I've heard people having success. I think also just due to the way splash attacks works, if she's soaked in with infantry, it's kind of hard for other heroes to hit her sometimes. But yeah, yeah, and it's that high weapon strength with those fast attack animations. It makes her insane, definitely. But okay, so let's go ahead and change here. Race looks like it's going to go for high elves. Just accordingly. Excellent. Yeah, she's definitely definitely quite good. I say quite good. Dark Elves have a lot of really good lord choices, honestly. Like, I don't know... I don't know if they actually really have, like, a bad lord choice, per se. Like, I wouldn't call any of their lords straight up bad, necessarily. They're all pretty decent if used correctly. Even, like, Kraken Face on the dragon, especially with the percentage-based heals, actually is pretty decent now. It's still very expensive and squishy, but like Nolosi has decent support abilities. Even the High Beastmaster has Tormentor Sword still, I believe. So yeah, definitely interesting. And these guys are changing their factions again on me, which is totally fine. But yes, here. I can't think of a fun nickname for Grand Cathay, so they're just gonna have to be Grand Cathay for now. All right. Rakarth Double Dragon. Rakarth is also pretty good. Yeah, like if I had Lokir on Empire, I'd probably take him over Karl Franz a lot of the time. And maybe Boris too, honestly. A lot of the time. But let's see. I mean, obviously Malekith Marathi's okay too, honestly. She's not amazing these days. Not as good as she used to be, certainly, but definitely still good. Hey, Boojilicious with the tenor, all hail Friday Night Fights. Big thanks. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's quite a bit of fun. You know, to definitely get some different kind of matchups. Grand Cathay versus High Elves. We'll see how this goes. Raced. Bring in Imrik. All hot and ready. Yeah, Imrik and a 1 Dragon Prince triple bolt thrower. We've got 3 Lion Infantry, 1 Ranger, 1 Reaver, 3 Archers. So it's a reasonably mixed build. Imrik, I'm assuming, is on the dragon, given how small everything is, but I guess we'll see. And then let's see on the side of Cathay. Looks like Gotrek and Felix. Very interesting choice alongside Miao Ying. Haven't really tried this out myself yet, but the fact that you can take Gotrek and Felix kind of as infantry support lords, it seems decent. I mean, I don't know. Again, I'd have to try it myself and see. Felix is not incredible. He's okay. I mean, his percentage-based heal is alright, and I guess having that passive heal for Miao Ying is pretty good. And then, of course, Gotrek is actually a pretty scary duelist. Does have low armor, though, so he can get circle beaten by high DPS units. And then Miao Ying also, obviously, is who she is. Quite strong, a little expensive, but overall, really good legendary lord. Jade crossbows and some iron hails. 1 rocket, 2 rockets. Wow, so serious artillery investment here. And they're deploying pretty far forward as well. I mean, I guess they are kind of at their max range, more or less. From the High Elves, obviously the bolt throwers. Yeah, Imrik up on his dragon. So let's see how it goes. I'm a little bit concerned about the lack of mass from Cathay here, that they're not going to have anything to kind of pin either the Dragon Princes or the dragon itself, you know, on the ground and try and keep them away, or, you know, at least, again, to keep them tied to the ground. Miao Ying also is going to be super vulnerable if she does transform. The Imrik will just come in and murk her. I mean, she's going to be somewhat vulnerable regardless, so might be a good idea to, like, yeah, just keep Miao Ying in infantry form and probably keep her with these two. That's what I would probably do, and then just spam cast the damage spell to try and broadcast her presence sort of across the battlefield, make more of an impact. But yeah, interesting. I don't think he brought the buff, which does kind of make sense to a degree. Rockets is an interesting one for sure. I'm not sure how it's going to go. That is a pretty serious investment for a unit that I'm not that big of a fan of. The Empire rockets are definitely just straight up better. And, I mean, the Cathay rockets are decent, but not going to do a ton against, like, the White Lion infantry, especially with their missile resistance and armor. So, we'll see. Oh, yeah. So the bolt throwers are going to open up immediately. And if we think about the value investment here, just the basic bolt throwers are, what, 700 each? So let's see how the rockets trade into them initially. The rockets already taking pretty serious damage on the focus fire, and one of them's already downstairs, like 2,200 in rockets. And yeah, like 2,100 in bolt throwers, so it's a pretty similar spend, honestly, in artillery. So I am genuinely very curious to see how this artillery fight goes. Right now, it's going pretty badly for Cathay. 2 of their artillery pieces have already been shut down, and they only have 4 in total, whereas there's the, yeah, I mean 8 in total. There's the 12 here of the Eagle Claws, but one of them is already almost completely shut down in terms of its crew being completely killed by rockets. Yeah, one more volley and they do, in fact, rout. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. It looks like, yeah, I don't really like the rockets in this matchup for that reason. I'd probably distribute that value out and try and get some crane gunners. Even though the crane gunners models are going to die, they're not going to die and lose power as fast because they're, again, distributed out. The value is not concentrated in a single unit there. A little bit of a side-shotting breath attack. Doesn't do much on those Jade Warriors because they're on the move. I'd have just held on to the value of that. Why not? But Dragon Prince is also going to come forward. Again, there's no mobility to really punish them here, so they can pretty much just fight at their leisure, try and go wherever they need to. But Raced putting on a clinic here with these bolt throwers. Done a really good job of focusing the right targets. Now switching to Scattershot here. Illyrian Reavers come to shut down this other rocket just to make sure that they have no artillery advantage whatsoever. But Jade Warriors obviously very strong, especially if they can get some harmony, and the heroic squad of Cathay honestly could carry this whole thing potentially, as long as they get enough support. So let's see if the right now the Jade crossbows are not in range to give harmony, and as a result, the Jade Warriors actually get traded out, as they should, badly by the Lion infantry here. But looks like Imrik going to drop to the ground. Miao Ying immediately. Kung Fu charges over. Going to try and bail Felix out, already dropping a regrowth on him, which I think is a little bit premature. Definitely would want to use that magic to try and punish the Elves' actual units. But yeah, Raced is just pushing on all cylinders right now. Nurgle's PA is having a hard time kind of sustaining this attack. Elves are doing a really nice job just surgically eliminating those threats. Dragon Prince is now in the back line as well as Imrik sweeps back up into the sky. Looking like he's going to maybe land a rear charge here. Not sure. That was a really weird charge angle. I have no idea what he was trying to accomplish, but that was completely ineffective. But that's fine. Dragon Princes can crump all these routing units and just make sure they stay shut down. We'll see. So far, the hero squad is basically untouched. I mean, Felix did take that big burst of damage from Imrik initially, but Miao Ying now going to try and transform, which I think is ultimately a mistake. I think she just stays in human form and continues to grind, and again, cast that Talons of the Night as many times as you can to try and increase damage done against infantry. But we'll see. It's looking pretty rough for Nurgle's PA right now. I'm not sure he'll be able to actually come back from this, but perhaps. He does get Gotrek in on Imrik, and Miao Ying is going to attempt to hold him on the ground as well, but Imrik can still just walk through his own infantry and screen, especially from Gotrek. Miao Ying will probably be able to keep up with him, but yeah, Gotrek's going to get stuck up in these lions. Yeah, even as Miao Ying kind of pushes everyone else out of the way. Not to mention Felix certainly is also going to have some issues here, but nice rear charge coming in from Imric. A little bit of a cycle there, in and out, although that does open him up to a charge from Gotrek. Gotrek's a little bit caught up on those bolt throwers. And let's see here. Yeah, Emmerich also fighting with Felix at this point, so it's not a great situation for him. He's taken a lot of damage from these infantry characters, but at the same time, I mean, from an army perspective, Raced is just absolutely cleaning up a beautiful textbook hammer and anvil into these Jade Warriors. They get absolutely hammered by those nice, bright baby blue. A dragon prince is there. Got a Talons of the Night now on this archer unit here. Definitely would have just been spamming that the entire time. We'll see. I mean, heroes are going to afford Nurgle's PA a bit of longevity, excuse me, in this fight, but I'm just looking pretty hopeless right now, so we'll see. I mean, the hero squad is really all he has going left. The rest of the army is completely eliminated. So let's take a look. Imric gonna have to just cycle charge these few, especially if he can get Imric, or sorry, this guy, Felix. If he can just get Felix down and out of the blob, try and hit him with the dragon, or like obviously the bolt thrower is now doing some really nice damage. Felix is reasonably close to his healing cap, so you can get a big burst of damage on him and terrify him away. That's going to limit the healing on these other two. And swing back around and just, you know, try and have your archers, the crossbowmen, burst down Gotrek, and then, or archers, yeah. Have them try and burst down Gotrek, and then just finish Miao Ying with Imric. We'll see. Life Mage just trying to stay away for the time being, and you know, the less time these guys spend in melee, the worse it's going to be for Nurgle's PA, so not sure. I mean, he has just a couple of units left here on the field that can support, but oh man, Imric on a big bloody charge into the column of Peasant Spearmen. Yes, indeed, shame and disorder. Shameful display, most shameful of displays. As the Reavers now move in to mop up this unit here. Bolt throwers and archers just continuing to fire in. Gotrek taking some damage. That 0 armor means that he is quite vulnerable to getting focus fired by even like basic high elven archers. Due to their accuracy, they can hit him consistently even though he is a very small target. Now Imric moves in. Let's see if he can execute the finish on Felix. Felix gets the Lord of Dragons debuff, so his melee stats are absolutely in the pits. Still 31 melee defense, but still, Imric doesn't want to stay in combat too long. Wisely is going to pop back up into the air. We see another Talons of the Night being cast here on these archers, and not to mention this full health unit of Dragon Princes. Honestly, could try and cycle charge in here, perhaps. They're not going to get that great of a surround, but yeah, it should be interesting what Cathay receives. My guess is probably we'll see the Monkey King alongside some other Kislev, maybe a caster-oriented character. Because they're both with Zeech, right? Which would then make sense for it to be like all three caster characters. And I guess the Monkey King doesn't specifically have to be a caster character, but yeah, looks like mercifully we're going to end that one there. And Raced takes home the win with a pretty sensible High Elves build. I think ultimately the rockets are what let Nurgle's PA down. I think if he switched this for another artillery choice or just went full rush, maybe it would have worked out much better for him. But anyway, let's go ahead and get on to the next fight on the bracket here. And yeah, that's going to be the semi-final between Super Mario Fried Chicken and Raced. So go ahead and just refresh here. Update the scoreboard officially once again. Base takes the win. So yeah, we'll just stay in here. And yeah, I don't know why I backed out, to be honest. You just stay in this lobby. And we'll await this next round semifinal. Should be a good time. Yeah, Monkey King will be pretty cool, I think, honestly, as a lord. I'm curious to see kind of the implementation they do of him based on some of the lore hints we've seen in various screens. I think the changeling, or sorry, not the, wait. No, Village is the changeling. What's, no, I'm getting confused. I don't know enough about the lore to be talking about this, but I'm just guessing based on, you know, the sort of lore and theming and what the most obvious hints are, that it's likely to be the Kislev, like, witch character. And yeah, it is the changeling, right? That's the lord I'm thinking of. Village is the curseling. That's right. Yes, I'm getting all confused. Yeah, the changeling. Yeah. So I'm curious to see if the changeling then, if the sort of lore is to transform into different things, it might be one of the first units we see that has like multiple transformation forms. Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious to see who we get. Yeah, the changeling. There we go. So I could see it. My guess is it's going to be changeling, Monkey King, and then the caster. I forget her name. There's a Kislevit witch specifically that I'm thinking of. I think it'll be those three probably, and then Tamerkan, Elspeth, and I'm not sure who for the dwarfs. I don't know enough about the lore of Tamerkan's campaign. Is there a dwarf lord specifically that yeah, is there a dwarf lord that is associated with the Tamerkan campaign? I'm not really sure, to be honest. Malachi? Oh, Malachi, that's the guy. He's a Slayer engineer, right? So it'd be an engineer lord, which we currently lack, and yeah, at least legendary hero, if not lord. I could see that. I just want a ranged legendary lord for dwarfs, personally. I think they really lack that, and given that an infantry, you know, Joseph Bugman, right? He'd be a legendary lord possibility. Carry a crossbow, maybe. Yeah, I think based on the hints in the... Didn't they say something about tools in the hints for the legendary hero for that one? So Malachi seems like a shoo-in for the legendary hero on that. But yeah, definitely a ranged... I mean, I don't know if Bugman has anything to do with Tamerkan's campaign, but... And then the Slanesh one, I honestly have no idea. Could be a lot of different things. I'm really hoping for Norska and Bretonia. Although, since it seems to be more of a versus thing, I don't know if they would include Norska in one of those, but Norska needs an update so bad. It's really horrendous that they only have 2 legendary lords and just the whole roster being what it is. They could do so much more with it, so... I would definitely hope for a Norska in one of these, or maybe just a full Norska DLC next year, maybe after they put out the Khorne one? I'm not sure. I mean, I think they have something specifically they want to do lore-wise for like, you know, Tzeentch specifically. So like I get why they would do what they did, but let's go ahead and update this. Not even, we've been long past round 1, but yep. Final, okay. Oh, is it Coast versus Counts? That's amazing. Okay. Yes. Oh, wait. Here we go. Or should I just go double star? Just to really... Yes, there we go. Perfect. And we'll get the player name changed as well. Super Mario Fried Chicken. Perfect. Being able to change into any lord he is facing would be cool. That would definitely be super unique. I'm not sure if that's something that they could pull off, but it would be really cool. Or just multiple transformations, maybe. I'm not really sure, but... Yeah, I mean, there's a lot they could do with Norska. I'm just not sure what the plan is exactly. DLC after the roadmap ends has to be Thankful or Nagash. They said they were going for a big legendary lord for 100. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Thankful, I think, is a shoe-in at some point. But, oh, there's so many factions in the game that need reworks. They could do a lot with it, honestly. But the Slaanesh one, I'm really curious to see what two factions fall alongside. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I was really hoping for some more faction DLCs personally. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's great that they're going back and reworking old factions. I've been giving them more new stuff, but honestly, at first, yeah, I just think there's a lot of opportunities for them to add new factions potentially, and part of it will depend, I think, on stuff from Old World, but we'll see. I'm also keeping my eye on that space kind of tentatively, because I think that's all stuff that Creative Assembly could potentially use, like if they make new stuff for Old World, right? So... I could see it being Khorne versus Skaven and something as the sort of the one after the roadmap. I could see it being Khorne versus Skaven and maybe Lizardmen. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting. I'm trying to think who else has a lot of lore specifically against Khorne, maybe? Don't get me started on the Lord situation. It's a mess. And unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to rework Vampire Coast or Tomb Kings, which kind of sucks, because they definitely both need reworks. But that's, I mean, I have an idea for a DLC. I just don't think they'll do it, but it would be really interesting to get a Champions of Chaos style, like, 4 Lord pack. that would add the characters from Dreadfleet. The only problem is a couple of those characters would come from factions that are not in the game yet, such as Araby or Southern Realms slash Talea slash Dogs of War. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look here at the disgusting undead versus undead matchup. Super Mario Fried Chicken coming in hot with Helm and Gorst. He's got a Necromancer and a Banshee, Blood Knights, and then just loads of infantry, triplex of zombies, skeletons, and a Grave Guard with the Sternsman in the back, of course. This build is pretty familiar. I used to do stuff like this quite a bit in Warhammer 2 when I was feeling really dirty. For the Vampire Coasts here, we have deckhands with a backline of animated hulks, some depth guards mixed in. So they're trying to just melee smash not Silastra. This one here, Aranessa, who probably should be a Norscan legendary lord, or at least not associated with the Vampire Coasts. She should definitely be on a different faction, but I don't know. We'll wait casually for these two meat bags to start mashing themselves against each other. Put Aranessa on Southern Realms whenever they come out. Yeah, I think that would actually make the most sense. I was kind of reading through the Dreadfleet lore recently, just because, you know, I'm curious about it, and I want to learn more about that lore so I could potentially do a video about it, honestly. I know other people have already done a video about it, but... Ooh, Spirit Leech on that Banshee. Smart. Definitely smart. Try and claw her down. She's just going to run over to Daddy Gorst and get some free healing. But the Tithe are just eating the bombs right now, which is actually super cost effective. Yeah, there are, especially for Chaos, there's like an infinite number of characters to learn about. But... Yeah, I could see some different things with Southern Realms, but let's take a look at what they've got going on. So far, it's just zombies mashing against each other, but we do have a few more power units flowing in over on this side. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The bombs now flowing in as well, so... Monstrous infantry should make a decent impact here. They're not super tanky, but they are fighting with good infantry support, especially the depth guards out on the flanks here trying to collapse. But the Blood Knights also pile straight into the center here, and it's just a big, disgusting blob fight, which is really going to favor Helm and Gorst in many ways here. If Aranessa can get through, though, ooh, is she going to net him here? Looks like we're going to see something. Is that a taunt? Yeah, Spearfisher's net and taunt. I didn't actually even see the net. I don't know. Is RNS actually doing attack animations? She is doing attack animations. And actually doing a hilarious amount of damage to Helm and Gorst. Will it actually end up mattering all that much? Hard to say. She's definitely taking a beating right now. And we're going to see a nice Spirit Leech here on the Banshee as well. So, yeah, Race knows what he needs to kill, it seems. And definitely really smart to bring that Spirit Leech. We've seen recently on the channel how bad Banshees can be for Vampire Coast to deal with if they don't have the right tools, so Spirit Leech is a super cheap and efficient way of dealing with it. Gorst also is not getting his AoE drain while he's out of combat, so he needs to find a safe place to land where he can fight some low-tier stuff, but I love this flank by the Depth Guard coming from, I don't even know where, I guess around this flank, to be honest. I wasn't really paying attention, but their high DPS is, again, just going to threaten Gorst to go somewhere else. So, very interesting so far. Aranessa seems to have been the right pick, certainly, to murder corpse carts in melee like this. And this Necromancer on his Balefire is certainly up next. Balefire is, again, smart choice here, just in case you do come up against some ethereal units, like some Sirens or something. Nice to have that magical damage. Flaming attacks are nice to have. Flame resistance is not really super impactful, but yeah, flaming attacks certainly are nice to kind of decrease the healing of the Vampire Coasts, should they be doing any healing, and of course doing extra damage straight up to Lamprey's Revenge. So yeah, Vampire Coasts are doing more damage, but the counts are just kind of sustaining right now, doing just fine. But it does seem like the higher DPS of the Death Guard is eventually going to start to tell here. I mean, there's not a lot of Grave Guard mixed in over on this flank right now, but if they can just collapse a lot of the chaff, and then especially with the Hulks with infantry support against the Grave Guard in the late game, should do okay. Although Sternsmen right now have been completely untouched, and I have seen them tank games out before, just straight up, so let's see how it goes. The two captains here also getting a little bit caught out. They don't want to get surrounded by Grave Guards. That anti-infantry bonus will punish them pretty hard. And it looks like the Vampires are just kind of winning this entire position over here, so it's definitely going to come down to whether this kind of elite flank can start to buckle these units. This Death Guard actually just gets kind of ground down into dust because they kind of overextended there a little bit, although they popped there, unfortunately. So we'll see. Battlefield situation-wise, I'm not sure how well it's actually going, given that a lot of the damage has been done to these characters who have then regenerated and got up to their healing cap, but we'll see. Animated Hulks continuing to take some damage, and it seems like the final line of Graveguard here is just a lot to deal with. So anyway, Burning Head here would be so good. I know, right? Or a Van Geis. Oh man, could you imagine a Van Geis? Oof. Ooh, the bombers though. Look at that bomber flank getting all the way around to the other side and now just firing into the back of this blob. That's next best thing, obviously, for AoE damage that Coast can do at this point, and that is a ridiculously juicy blob to be firing into. And granted, they're still mostly just hitting the tide, but not actually doing that much damage to like Grave Guards and stuff, but it is helping to clear out that chaff fairly significantly. The Grave Guards also, or the Blood Knights rather, are actually taking some damage as well there. And I guess just crumbling away these chaff support units does expose the Grave Guards taking more damage. Maybe Race can win through this grind fight towards the late game. Another Spear Leech being used on that Banshee that has used up quite a bit of his magic, and means that some of his units haven't been able to kind of sustain through what they needed to, but he has picked away some of the high-value targets. Arnessa could try and disengage and sweep around here and get to where Gorst is, but we'll see. Got to keep the Crab's leadership together. Got to make sure that the characters also stay on task and don't get killed. All focusing the Banshee together, even though high physical resistance, I mean, obviously still just with that good weapon strength, characters should be able to do some okay damage, but so far Gorst has just been draining insane amounts of value, and it looks like this flank is pretty close to actually collapsing for the Vampire Coast, which is surprising to me. Gorst has drained out almost 2,000 damage value already, so the Rotting Promethean's going to pull back, use their guns to shoot in a little bit, but they definitely need to stay in the fight as much as possible. And let's see, this, yeah, not looking great here for these handful of Depth Guard and the Animated Hulks and everything else trying to secure this flank here. Nice little charge from those Lamprey's Revenge. 22 charge bonus isn't huge, but it does make a little bit of a difference. The Tithe are still alive even after having eaten so much damage. They still have a huge amount of healing cap space left. I don't think it's a hilarious pick, to be honest, but anyway. Wind of Death. Yeah, you can take Wind of Death too for fairly cheap, but it's just awful to watch. I know, right? It is pretty awful to watch. I'll agree with you there. And did Gorst just die? I think Gorst, no, Gorst is still alive. Gorst is definitely still alive. He is being threatened, though. A lot of the Vampire Coast stuff kind of collapsed towards this position, and Gorst is now taking pretty significant damage. He's been spear-fished, which that net decreases his melee defense, so even if Arnessa herself can't get to him, he just took a bunch of damage there from those Depth Guard. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to actually end him rightly, but the Banshee is gone, so I don't know. Even these characters, though, in kind of a last stand, I mean, it's just not going to be enough. Arnessa doesn't have enough armor. She gets hit pretty hard by the Grave Guard with their 40 plus 8 weapon strength, so Yeah. That high-speed bomber flank was true peak gameplay for sure. Does Gorse die? Yes! Okay, Gorse dies, so objective completed. For both sides, honestly, because when you play with Gorse and you're playing as the Vampire Counts player, your goal should be always to win, but to get Gorse killed, because if you're doing the world a favor anytime you can kill Gorse. What a game, and by that I mean thank God it's over. Yeah, and just the lack of AoE damage really, I think, is what did in raced here. I mean, obviously he was prioritizing that Spirit Leech quite a bit, which was important. He was able to finish off the Banshee in the late game, but I almost wonder, you know, if you were to go with the kind of Spiteful Shot and Van Geis of Lore of Deeps, or else just take Wind of Death with the one that has vampires. Maybe it would have turned out really nicely if you could have just busted that huge blob, and especially the Graveguards. Literally, they were the problem, because everything got expended killing off the zombies and skeletons, which, I mean, to be fair, they did kill the zombies and skeletons, but then the final line of Graveguard, there just wasn't enough resources to finish it off. So let's go ahead and join on to the next game here. And we'll go to Cool Umbrellas game here. Let's... I don't know if the lobby is actually even set yet. I believe, yeah, Bellicor and Lenorm are perhaps still playing. Or did they just finish? Bear with me just 1 second, guys. I'm going to put some music on while I figure it out real quick, and we'll be right back. Okay, I am returned. No, it's just Full War Medieval 2 soundtrack. So yes, the classic Let's go ahead and get the scoreboard updated. We're waiting on these guys to get their stuff locked in here. Okay, come on. Here we go. Yes, perfect. And let's see what once they get their faction picks locked in, who they're going to be taking. Definitely curious to see. A lot's going on these days, but just some things here. Back on the subject of campaign reworks, to respond to you, Boojilicious, I agree. Tomb Kings are generally fine. It's just, you know, they haven't had any new content in a long time, so at some point I would like for them to get new content. I honestly think, like, Nagash versus Tomb King's vampire counts would be really cool. Or maybe you do, again, like a Champions of Chaos style that introduces, you know, some just new undead lords in general, kind of theme it around Nagash, make him one of the lords. I don't know. I think there's an opportunity there for sure. But I agree, Tomb Kings are not too bad. Their campaign's okay. I mean, their mechanics are what they are. They're interesting and different from a lot of other factions, so they're fun to play for sure. But alright, so we're gonna see. Yeah, Cool Umbrella send me the picks and bans right now. So Bellicor, we're gonna ban Chaos Dwarfs, Grand Cathay, and Tzeentch. Or sorry, pick Chaos Dwarfs, Grand Cathay, Tzeentch, ban Empire, Dark Elves, High Elves. Cool Umbrella is gonna take Dwarfs and ban Chaos Dwarfs. So now waiting for Bellicor's response with Cathay or Tzeentch versus Dwarfs. Either of which is going to be a very good option. Cathay, I think, would be worse, in my opinion. Yeah, Tzeentch, at least you have, I don't know, Tzeentch seems really bad too, to be honest. Both of those seem like awkward picks. So Cool Umbrella definitely picking very well here. And we end up with Dwarfs versus Cathay, which is not a comfortable situation for Cathay to be in. In my opinion, it's a pretty bad matchup for Cathay, but we'll see. Let's see what they can do with it. What she can do with it, I guess. Yeah, so let's Reichland States map once again. Let me get the factions updated here. Okay, Grand Cathay. Over here, we're gonna go for yes, just Dwarfs. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, in terms of factions that most need reworks, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Norska. Bretonnia is honestly not terrible, and I think I saw somewhere that they're going to be giving Bretonnia some love on the 3.1 update, which is definitely great to see. I do think they still need more, you know, characters, potential full rework later on. That's something that I think probably is going to be tied to the old world, I want to say. So, I mean, just depends, but yeah, sorry, I totally got distracted by somebody sending me some messages, but Those two, I would hope, Norska and Bretonnia alongside Slaanesh. They're definitely the ones that need most reworks. I could also see Dark Elves, High Elves alongside Slaanesh. Wood Elves, I don't see them getting a lot just because they got DLC kind of towards the end of Warhammer 2. Same for Beastmen. Greenskins. Lizardmen. Yeah, kind of those factions. Who was against the Sisters of Twilight? Why can't I remember? Was that Skaven? Anyway. Well, let's see what they got going on here. Both these players very patiently picking their armies, wanting to make sure they get their picks right. It is an interesting matchup. So from Bellacor's perspective, I might tech full artillery, honestly. Like 4 cannons, 4 crane guns, and just try and blast the Dwarfs. You know, historically, Giselles have been very good from the Skaven in this matchup, so definitely would lean heavily into the crane guns here. And then, yeah, like I said, maybe cannons, countershoot. Cannons are okay against dwarf infantry as well, although you do need a lot of time to shoot. So then I would just take some high defense units, kind of augment that. I don't know. It's expensive, though, on paper when I start to think about that's like 8,000 gold worth of artillery. It's more than half your build, so you're looking pretty thin for the rest of your build. I don't know. I don't know if it would work. Might be too much. Dwarfs could probably just rush you down, honestly, but I don't know. Throt, that's who it was. Yeah, it was a Skaven. Throt versus Sisters of Twilight. That's right. Thank you, Autumn Chan, for reminding me. I don't know why I couldn't remember. I wanted to say Snitch, but I knew that wasn't right. I'm like, no, Snitch was against Malice. So Throt, that's right. Forgot about Fatty Ratty Boy. Yes, I don't see those factions getting updates anytime soon. I mean, Grom the Paunch was long enough ago that you could make an argument that Greenskins kind of need a rework, but I honestly think they're fine. Campaigns are all pretty fun. Yeah. High Elves also, I guess, were alongside Grom, but they didn't really... I mean, I guess Eltharion has his own unique mechanics, but... yeah, just again, because of the lore, I could definitely see Slaanesh versus High Elves and Dark Elves, so... we'll see, though. We'll definitely see. I'm hopeful for Slaanesh versus Norska Bretonnia. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get on to the game. Looks like Belagar's coming in hot with a build that is beautiful. He's got lots of rangers and miners for plenty of width, some iron breakers in the back. Cathay didn't quite spy their build, wasn't really paying attention to be honest, but we'll see shortly. Yeah, front line of Dwarf Warriors as well. Looks like we've got maybe the Grumbling Guard mixed in here. Where are they? Just regular Longbeards, great weapons. We've got Felix and Gotrek and Belagar. Then the 2 Iron Breakers. For Grand Cathay, yeah, this is kind of what I expected to a degree. We've got 3 Crane Guns and 2 Celestial Dragon Crossbows. So a lot of armor-piercing missiles. Gonna just try and outshoot the Dwarfs, but they are lacking in volume for sure. They do have some Peasant Horsemen and Jade Lancers to protect. Front line of some Jade Warriors, and then Miao Ying to lead the way. Interesting choices all around. This map is also not great for the Crane Guns. They definitely are going to have pretty good lines of sight here, I guess, if they come far forward, but It might get some interrupted areas. Yeah, let's see. Oh. What do you gain as Chaos Dwarfs by banning Tzeentch? I'm not sure, to be honest. No one banned Tzeentch, though. I mean, Be'lakor picked Chaos, Dwarfs, Grand Cathay, and Tzeentch herself, and banned Empire, Dark Elves, High Elves. And then, yeah, it's Cool Umbrella counterpicked with the Dwarfs and actually banned Chaos Dwarfs. So that's how we ended up here. Sorry if I misspoke about that earlier, but yeah. Yeah, Chaos Dwarfs. If you have Chaos Dwarfs, you definitely wouldn't ban Tzeentch at all. There's no reason to ban Tzeentch. But, oh man, those Peasant Horsemen are in for a bad time. Let's actually watch up close for them to get started. Yep. Oh man, they didn't get blasting charged immediately. I'm kind of sad. Come on. Come on, lads. Yeah. Oh, they were running. Oh, they were running. They actually did mostly dodge that volley. That's pretty impressive. So there you go. They're going to immediately just start disrupting this formation here, doing their light cavalry attacks. The Vanguard Dawi is definitely quite strong. We didn't see the Regiment of Renown Ironbreakers to give it... they are technically Vanguard as well, but the other Ironbreakers are certainly close enough they can get into support range relatively quickly. Fast reaction is certainly going to be needed by Be'lakor here to counteract this. Let's see if she can interrupt. The Jade Lancers getting a nice charge in here, preventing this unit of miners from using their charges, but the other miners do get their charges off and do some really cost-effective damage to those Jade Warriors. The Rangers also come forward here on this flank and are going to focus down those crane guns fairly efficiently. The one miner did eat some damage there on that charge, but should be able to respond also with their own blasting charges shortly. This unit also gets eaten up by the Peasant Horsemen, so a nice little cavalry counterattack here. Manages to eliminate some of the Rangers and miners for Cool Umbrella, but he's definitely still pushing forward and doing some nice damage. Already got some units routing away, doing some fairly serious damage to these crane guns, but the ones over on this right flank are pretty secure, and they are just withering away this unit of Dwarf Warriors. Definitely going to have to be careful not to take that damage too much on these Ironbreakers, as they just try and force their way through to throw their charges at the Jade Warriors here. The Longbeards helping to support against the Jade Lancers. Do some decent armor-piercing damage, although their attack is quite low. Some more Dwarf Warriors here going to eat a Talons of the Night as Belegar and the character squad try and get into combat. Of course, that character squad for Dwarfs is extremely strong as well. There must be said, there's a strong possibility that as long as Cool Umbrella does enough damage to kind of the army of Be'lakor and trades reasonably well enough, they should be able to grind through the late game no problem. We'll see. Well, and especially given the BBB rule set limits Tzeentch Soul Grinders, I believe. I want to say, so... Can you actually take 4x Ironsworn? I would have thought Ironsworn would have been limited to 3 given their cost, but maybe you can take 4x Ironsworn. I don't know these days, to be honest. But I was under the impression, at least used to be, the fact that 1100 plus infantry were limited to 3, or maybe it was 1200 plus. Either way, Ironsworn definitely fall into that category. But Cool Umbrella's got quite a few units coming back from route here as he's kind of pressing his advantage. He's able to eat up a lot of the Cathayans' formation. The thing that's kind of Cathay's saving grace right now is that they were able to get these crane guns out in distance, be able to get some separation to pick away and continue generating value here. The Ironbreakers are kind of trying to get out of the range, or at least get within range of supporting blasting charges. Oh yeah. I love me some exploded Cathayans. Well, to be honest, I love when anything gets exploded by blasting charges, but there's something satisfying against, especially about Cathay getting blasted in land battles, but they're doing just fine right now, honestly. It's very interesting. But the crane guns kind of out in space is definitely working so far. I mean, we'll see, of course, if they're able to finish off this hero squad, like I said, but Dwarfs have a lot of presence, but they're just not... They obviously don't have the mobility to get back and really threaten these crane guns, which is going to be super dangerous for any unit that has to approach them. We'll see. Blasting charges continuing to try and get into range from those Iron Breakers. Miao Ying moving in to deliver a blow to Felix. Gotrek and Belagar desperately trying to help, and they do manage to stagger here, Miao Ying. But, yeah, Felix is going to have a tough time staying alive in this engagement, even if Gotrek and Belagar are able to best Meow. But it does seem like it's in her best interest to maybe avoid that fight for the time being and just try and, yeah, make sure that the rest of the battle goes well. Blasting charges again, trying to get in range here as the Iron Breakers push up. These Celestial Dragon crossbows are also doing a serious amount of damage as well. Haven't really been highlighting them too much, but yeah, well, I guess not that much damage so far, honestly. Missile block chance of the Dwarfs definitely coming into play here. Of course, all Dwarfs now have silver shields, at least the melee variants do. So 55% missile block chance definitely helps them against that type of target. But we'll see. Cathay and Cavalry by Bellicor also doing a great job of staying in the back line of the Dwarfs and keeping these Rangers kind of on the back foot. Really haven't been super effective so far. I mean, they've been contributing a little bit here and there, but like, we take a look at the value. I guess this one's paid for itself. This one has not. Yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag. This one immediately getting terrified and eaten up also has not paid for itself. So that's part of what's weighing down Cool Umbrella here. Even though he's slightly ahead on the army damage value, he is a little bit behind on balance of power. So we'll kind of see how it plays out in the late game. More Rangers being run down over here. This unit basically paid for itself. Pretty close, more or less, but yeah, Miners out there in space against Jade Warriors. Miners' attack is low enough, they're going to struggle to get consistent contact against the Jade Warriors, so it'll definitely be a wet noodle fight for quite some time. Man, what a scrap. These two just absolutely battling it out right now. Bellicor seeming to be able to sustain, and the crane guns, both these crane guns out the distance here. Blasting charges do manage to get slight contact there, but I'm surprised neither of them... I guess one of them has paid for itself. Yeah, one of them definitely paid for themselves. The other one has been forced to move for so much of the time that they have not been able to pay for themselves. But I don't know. I think... Cool Umbrella's build is definitely running out of steam here. I just don't know if he's done enough. Although I'm not also sure that the crane guns can focus down all the characters. Right now they're shooting other infantry units, which is definitely fine, but oh man, these Iron Breakers coming forward now, straight into the teeth. Yeah, they're gonna absorb quite a bit of that damage, but I guess if Belagar and Felix can push through during that time while the Iron Breakers are eating this damage and get onto the crane guns, maybe that will be enough. Also, this one unit of Dwarf Warriors here with some Rangers that are fairly healthy can get out and try and contribute a little bit here, but yeah, crane guns definitely carry this matchup for sure. For sure. Yeah, Gotrek, Belagar, and Felix coming over here. This is going to allow them to kind of grind out some HP against a reasonably high-value target as well. That's not going to threaten them too much in melee. That said, the rest of the build is struggling pretty badly. Got these Dwarf Warriors here and the Rangers coming forward. The Celestial Crossbowmen skirmishing them out a little bit here. Got some Longbeards with great weapons coming back from route. But yeah, it's not looking great right now. Let's see if the crane guns actually have enough ammunition left to kill all of the dwarf characters, or at least do enough damage that Miao Ying can come and finish them in the late game. Celestial Crossbowmen not going to be able to get away as they get engaged in melee. Felix healing himself back up a little bit here, ever so slowly. Yeah, the healing proc is pretty slow, to be honest, but these Celestial Crossbowmen also trying to get away. Pretty much have paid for themselves, but also taking some damage in the process. So it's definitely neck and neck. These Ironbreakers also have been able to hold out. The two crane guns switch targets to fire at the characters, which has meant that the Ironbreakers were able to come in and kind of clean up a lot of these tattered Cathay units and actually shatter them so they can't contribute anymore. They're now going to draw more of the crane gun fire, so as Belegar and his hero squad make their way this way, and they cannot be taking so much damage. The crane guns also don't have the best firing angle due to the Jade Warriors being in combat here, but let's see. Haven't got too many cinematic shots of this battle so far, so let's get one of these Ironbreakers just pushing through. Got a little bit of a slope here also to protect from this one crane gun that actually still has quite a bit of ammunition left, and the other crane gun is out of ammunition, so I don't think Bellicor actually has enough ammo to kill off the hero squad. It looks like Cool Umbrella has fulfilled his objective of doing enough army damage. I mean, Miao Ying is here. She's got about half of her HP left. She does have no capacity to heal herself outside of just praying for life blooms, which she can only get so many with Talons of the Night, so it's looking rough for her, honestly. She's definitely not going to be able to fight this hero squad 3v1. The crane guns were kind of the last hope, and the ammunition that ended up being expended here, I mean, I say they were the last hope. I don't think crane guns are actually accurate enough to consistently kill off foot characters, especially 3-foot characters that can heal. So, Cool Umbrella might win this on the characters, but remains to be seen. I mean, there are some more units supporting for Cathay. We've got both the Celestial Crossbowmen back with a tiny bit of ammunition left as well, so let's see how it goes. Yeah, crane gunners are wasting a lot of ammo, it's true. Swiss Pikemen. Another great name, by the way. Oh man, Swiss Pikemen were so good in Med 2, if I remember correctly. You didn't see them much, though, because very few campaigns actually went that late into the game. But, yeah, very cool unit, for sure. I don't know. Pikes in Rome in Medieval 2 weren't as good as in Rome 1, but as long as the Pike unit had enough armor, they were decent. Anyway, yeah, crane gun's going to be caught up here. This unit of Ironbreaker is also continuing to force this crane gun away because they're so tired they are having a hard time actually getting set and shooting. Bellicor just cleaning up the rest of the dwarf units across the battlefield, making sure those rangers and dwarf warriors can't come contribute at all. But looking pretty good for Cool Umbrella right now. Able to tangle down. I mean, those crane guns are not going to be doing much anyway because they're out of ammunition, so definitely smart to just chase the one crane gun that does have ammo, but anyway. Looking good so far. Oh man, the dwarf characters are actually faster than the crane guns, I believe. Yeah, only 30 speed for the crane guns. Gotrek himself is 42 speed. Belegar also, with his charge animation, looks like he has pretty good speed as well, probably comparable. But Gotrek's able to actually catch up and start to kill off the crane guns here. So yeah, I think it's all over for Bellicor's Grand Cathay, but we'll see. After this, we'll be moving on to the Grand Final. So a nice, quick, fun tournament, land battles today. We're not even 2 hours in quite yet, so making great time, honestly. I'll probably go grab a quick drink of water in between rounds here, and we'll get set for the final. It's looking good for the dwarfs here. Crane guns almost carried. Very, very nearly carried. It wasn't quite enough at the end, though. I mean, I guess Miao Ying could still come in and win this. Celestial Crossbows also are kind of finishing off the Ironbreakers here, but again, better that the Ironbreakers take these volleys than the Hero Squad. As long as the Hero Squad stays safe, that's definitely what's going to carry the match here. Beautiful day here in the Empire. I love this this particular map. Reichland Flats, I believe it's called. It's fun. Has some hills, but mostly flat here in the center. guard just like sternly warning these crane guns as he chases them uphill. Gotrek just, man, synchronized decapitation. Oh, no, only one gets decapitated. Looks like Felix actually slays another there. So slowly but surely, they're going to get these crane guns out of here. Felix running up and another strike, perhaps. Not enough to kill them. Nope, swing and a miss there. Attack animations are not even close, but here comes Miao Ying. Gonna drop down to the ground, and let's see if, yeah, Gotrek's immediately gonna countercharge downhill, and he does have the speed to catch her, perhaps. Nope, does not. And is gonna eat some Celestial Dragon crossbow fire for his trouble, but honestly, the crossbowmen are pretty much out of ammunition as well. This one unit maybe has a few volleys left. Yeah, 7 volleys left on 27 unit models. I mean, even if they're firing at Gotrek for maximum damage, the spread shot means they're not going to hit on all of their shots, so that DPS is going to be lower, and given the amount of unit models they have left, it's really just not crazy impactful. So, yeah, Gotrek getting another hit there on Miao Ying. Every hit on Miao Ying is going to bring Cathay closer and closer to army losses. So, let's see here. Ironbreaker's moving forward to take on the out-of-ammunition Cathay and missile units. Definitely grim for them. Speaking of grim, Belagar Ironhammer can certainly hold off Miao Ying for the time being with the amount of HP he has left, no problem. Let's see. Yes, Celestial Dragon Guard, crossbows against Ironbreakers in melee. Not a matchup I thought I'd see anytime soon, but certainly a cool looking one. Here comes Miao Ying, nice splash attack straight through the center there. Should not quite terrify the Ironbreakers. They're not immune to psychology, but they're just barely holding on to their leadership right now, which is quite impressive, all things considered. Yeah, these two units shatter now. Well, I guess the Celestial Crossbowmen aren't technically shattered, but they're basically done for, right? It's over here for the Dwarfs. Oh, that's the routing Dwarf Warrior. Who cares? Yeah, Ironbreakers get routed off here, and Miao Ying now going to maybe try and cycle charge it out here, but we'll see. As long as the Celestial Crossbows and these other units have ammo, I guess just the Celestial Crossbows have ammo, they should be able to keep cycle charging, but a nice hit there on Felix. Felix does get an attack in response. I don't know if he actually got any damage, but Felix does get terrified, which is pretty painful. Gotrek, though, nearby with Belagar. I've screwed that up so many times this match. Belagar. He's doing just fine. And Felix does come back from rout. Looks like we're going to see another charge from Meow. That is probably going to finish Felix off here. Getting all tongue-tied today. Gotrek, though, will he get an attack in the meantime? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to save his friend, unfortunately, as Felix straight up falls there. So, I don't know. Maybe Miao Ying will be able to actually win this by herself. I mean, okay, Felix didn't quite fall yet, but he's pretty close. And Celestial Dragon Crossbowmen, in the meantime, with a handful of ammunition left, do get engaged by Gotrek and succinctly murdered. So, yeah, Gotrek just explodes them all. So, not looking great for Cathay. It's going to be just Miao Ying, and she does have to stay hard-landed here, which is going to significantly impact her speed. She doesn't have to stay hard-landed, but it's going to suffer leadership penalties as long as she's up in the air with no ground units left. So it looks like she's coming through to try and land the charge. Gotrek is right in position to immediately counterattack. So let's see. She's still just fighting the Ironbreakers for the time being, which is totally valid, but yeah, she's going to have to fight this character squad now. Let's see if Gotrek can get the job done. Keep the health bars up, keep it reasonably close. She's going to hard transform, although this is going to prevent Gotrek from getting his anti-large bonus. It is also going to mean that she'll take more damage from Belagar, I believe. Is her armor value actually the same either way? Probably should have checked that. I think she has 90 armor as a dragon and only 70 in human form. I could be wrong about that, but regardless, 2v1, it's just not against two, pretty good combat characters, especially Gotrek. It's not going to be a good time. So Miao Ying going out like a champ here. It's going to be a victory for the Dwarfs. Inevitable as it was. There you go. Cool umbrella. taking the win, and quite the build there from the Dwarfs. Like to see some Gotrek and Felix. Gotrek himself, super important to kill Miao Ying here. And then the rest of the build, like I said, just trades out with Cathay, more or less. Cathay's missile units definitely show their value here. The crane guns, surprisingly, one of them didn't pay for themselves. He was able to stay alive for a long time, so interesting there. Definitely the Jade Lancers were pretty good, as they didn't have to face any Slayers, other than the Slayer here, obviously. But let's go ahead and move on to game. Final game will just be right in this lobby, so I'm going to go grab a drink of water. I'll put some music on for you guys, and I'll be right back. All right, welcome once again. Welcome back to me mostly, but to you all as well. We're going to be very shortly starting on the final. Yeah, that was a great game, Khorne. That was a really, really good game. Very, very close there at the end, but yeah, that hero squad is tough. Tough to take out for sure. Especially, I mean, I guess you could take Felix and Gotrek yourself as Cathay to try and fight the enemy Gotrek and Felix, but Cathay doesn't have great tools for killing foot characters. A little bit awkward sometimes to try and do. So Dwarfs and having very strong foot characters definitely is a problem. I mean, Dwarfs just do a lot of things that give Cathay problems, to be honest, but the crane guns were very effective. Almost were able to carry the full game, but not quite. Hey, thanks. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. New sub is always appreciated, for sure. I'll be honest, I watch quite a few YouTubers who I'm not sub to. They just show up in my feed, right? But I try and keep my subs sort of curated in a specific way, but I'll just watch random stuff on the recommended, right? So I guess that's really the way YouTube wants it. But anyway, appreciate that. Great game as well, and let's see what these guys can do. I'm just fully showing Cool Umbrella's build, so I should probably switch off that screen as they get their faction picks lined up. Yeah, Hero Hammer can be a slog to watch for sure, especially when it's all foot characters. One of the reasons why, like, Final Transmutation, well, lots of reasons why Final Transmutation is probably the best spell in the game right now. That's one of the reasons why. Obviously, prevalence of Monstrous Infantry and Cavalry as well. Just, yeah. Those AoE direct damage single target, kind of, AoE single target. I know it's a little bit of an oxymoron, but you know what I mean, right? Like Final Transmutation, Soul Stealer, Traderkin, low-key Beastman, Traderkin spam is ridiculously strong. So, yeah, people don't really play Beasts much, though. Not a lot of Beastman mains out there, to be honest, but there are a few, or at least players who are extremely proficient with Beastmen. Traderkin's definitely a nasty spell right now. I really wish Empire had a generic gold caster hero. It'd be nice. Wouldn't make that much of a difference, but it would be nice. Definitely Lore of Fire is very good right now too, obviously. I don't know. Metal and Fire out of the common lores, I would say, are the two tops right now. And then Shadows probably has dropped to number 2. Like the second tier, I would say. Life, arguably also S tier, maybe A tier. Yeah, I'd actually definitely put it S tier, because Dweller's Blow is still really good. And then obviously you have Healing, which is very good, but new indeed. I guess Cleansing Ruin is another one that would fall into that same category, right? That's why you see quite a bit of Ikit. And don't get me wrong, I like Ikit as much as the next guy, but he does kind of lock you into a specific playstyle. I'm still a huge fan of the Grey Seers, because Dreaded 13th is just such an awesome spell, but Ikit's definitely got quite a bit of power, for sure. Cleansing Ruin, being able to kind of skirmish with his Doom Wheel effectively, terror of the Doom Wheel itself, it's definitely solid. Or sometimes I'll see him be taken just cheap as possible, right? With just the Cleansing Ruin only. Also great value. Let's see, is it going to be Chaos Dwarfs versus Slanesh? Nice. Yeah, so it's Super Mario Fried Chicken, or Apotheal, is Counts, Dwarfs, Warriors of Chaos, bans Skaven, Dark Elves, Cathay. Full Umbrella picks Chaos Dwarfs and bans Vampire Counts. So then it looks like Warriors of Chaos is the response. So nice. We get to see a couple of factions we haven't seen yet today. Yes, Dwarfs versus excellent. Nick Stinky. All right, let's see. So Chaos Dwarfs versus Warriors of Chaos. I actually didn't play this one a lot of times, but I mean, Chaos Dwarfs, if you want to win, you do what you always do. You know, Magma Cannon, maybe some Bowls, couple of Ironsworn, bunch of Chaff, Astro Chad, and you're set. And you take that pretty much every matchup and just be fine for the most part. Let's see what they do. All right. All right, people are just sending me messages on the side here. I probably should fill this time with some kind of fun discussion or something, but what should we talk about, guys? Should we talk about upcoming DLCs? Already kind of talked about that a little bit, but definitely excited. Also for units, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely thinking that if it's going to be Elspeth, we'll get some Nuln units that are missing, or some gunpowder units. I guess Hawkland long rifles are from Hawkland, not necessarily from Nuln itself. Maybe get the engineer as a new hero type. I don't know. There's a lot they could do, but... All right. Yeah, because I don't think... Empire doesn't have an increased mobility hero, do they? They have training from captains, increased replenishment from... the warrior priests. You get post-battle loot from witch hunters, and you get magic items from the wizards. So they actually don't have an increased mobility type hero yet. So they could introduce an engineer type hero. Even if they shared a cap with the captains, I think that would be fine. But then, obviously, the dream of all dreams would be to get the Marienburg land ship, but I don't know. Since it's tied to Marienburg specifically, I just don't know that I see it happening necessarily, but... Anyway, let's take a look at what they've got here. So, Cool Umbrella coming in hot with Chaos Dwarfs. He's got a big old... Oh, okay. Is my stream dying? You guys let me know if my stream is doing okay. Stream health seems fine when I look at it in OBS. But YouTube is saying that it's having some issues. So let me know, guys, in the chat if it's like stuttering or buffering, or I can try and fix it. But it seems kind of fine right now. Anyway, we've got Sorcerer Prophet of Death. Very interesting choice. Hashut's Dark Ravagers, couple of Blunderbusses, 4 Ironsworn, wow. 3 Ironsworn and the Blazing Beards, Chaos Dwarf Warriors, and some Laborers up front. Okay, and yep, we've also got, on the other side, Festus here, War Shrine of Nurgle, double exalted hero of... One's an exalted hero of Nurgle, one is not, because he didn't quite have enough marks, because there is also a warrior of Tzeentch, we've got some armored trolls, we've got some dragon ogres, chaos warriors up front. Very small build from Super Mario Fried Chicken here, but, okay, let me go ahead and refresh this. If it's still giving me that error message. Yeah, I mean, it's looking okay on my screen. Maybe a little bit low resolution, but I mean, OBS says it's fine. I don't see any problem on that end. I think it's a problem on YouTube's end, honestly, so we'll, you know what? Let me just real quick do this. Okay, and I just restarted the stream on OBS. So hopefully that will clear the error message and, yeah, make the stream a little bit more higher quality. Right now it's doing okay, but anyway. Let's see what they can do. These players both deploying. I'm not sure. I think the lack of flexibility for Super Mario Fried Chicken is going to be tough. He's not going to be able to shut down the missiles of Wool Umbrella here, but let's see. Festus, Stream of Corruption, Rancid Visitations, and Fleshy Abundance. So a relatively heavy spell kit. But yeah, the monstrous unit's a little bit far forward at this point. They are definitely at risk, and I mean, taking trolls, I feel, against... Yeah, taking trolls against Chaos Dwarfs is definitely a bold move, because turns out blasting charges for them do fire damage, so yeah, not going to be a comfortable situation at all. It actually doesn't do as much damage as I thought it was going to, but definitely the fire of those blunderbusses also doesn't do fire damage, but it's enough to at least very, very much hurt. Although, to an extent, it's also kind of smart. The Chaos Trolls didn't lose any models, so they can regenerate all of that HP back, and they've essentially eaten the blasting charges off of at least one full unit, partially off of a couple units as well. So that does mean that the Chaos Warriors don't take as much damage as they otherwise would have, although they are certainly taking quite a bit of damage. And the burst, I mean, keep in mind, guys, that War Shrines have a lot of HP, right? And this one is already blasted nearly to the point of no return by those blunderbusses up close. I mean, yeah, down to barely a quarter of its HP already, as the Warriors of Chaos try desperately to just push through here, but it's not going to be enough. Obviously, the Ironsworn are not going to rout. They're going to hold reasonably well, even as the Trolls and Dragon Ogres push through into the second line. They're just going to start to get dragged down by loss of attacks here. So yeah, taking large targets like that War Shrine against Chaos Dwarfs is not a good idea, especially if you lack the width to try and occupy their missile units in very, reasonable time. The Dragon Ogres do manage to get in here. Hashut's Ravagers kind of counteracting them with their mass, trying to hold them back. Regular Dwarf Warriors moving in as well. So it's looking pretty good. Sorcerer Prophet is just kind of plinking good old Festus right now with his flare pistol, increasing his weakness to fire as he fights against the Ironsworn. Yeah, not looking great. That was pretty quick. I don't want to call it a raw victory for Wool Umbrella quite yet, because the game is technically still going, but it's looking pretty hopeless for Super Mario Fried Chicken here. Seems that was fairly decisive, so I find it kind of hilarious that the Ironsworn's axe is like very slightly clipped through the ground, or at least they're like extremely close to clipping through the ground when they're doing that one run animation. But yeah, the Ironsworn, absolutely ridiculous. They're definitely a unit that I think needs price increase, although they are quite vulnerable to certain things like AoE magic damage, artillery, and shooting against a faction that kind of lacks those things to a broad degree.
They are quite strong. And for Chaos Warriors here, I'm honestly not sure what I would take. There are a lot of Lord choices, but I don't know if any of them are actually good here. Maybe Sigvald, honestly. I just don't know that he does a lot for you, but he won't die. He won't get blown up. Festus also isn't necessarily dying here, but I don't know that he's necessarily contributing a lot either. The little hero squad here is quite strong. Again, we see the hero hammer emerge. Maybe would have been nice to have lore of metal instead of death for that final transmutation, but death also works. And Spirit Leech is certainly a valid response to be able to get these characters down over time. Not to mention the blunderbusses also can open up on them once they get a little more opened up. But yeah, I'm not sure. They might just go to army losses here. Blazing Beards making their last stand. And across the rest of the battlefield, Laborers, Ironsworn just cleaning up the Warriors of Chaos. Not allowing them to come back. But yeah, the actual Chaos Warriors there obviously getting destroyed. Let's see if the blunderbusses open up on these characters. Blunderbusses obviously aren't going to be that great at shooting characters because of the relative lack of accuracy, but still will do enough damage certainly to be effective. Honestly, yeah, the Hashut's Ravagers in a surround here would be pretty good, and I probably bring the, I guess neither of them are the Regiment of Renowned Blunderbusses with armor piercing and melee. They would be good targets to bring in here, but oof, yeah, look at that. Because the three of them are all soaked together, all of them are getting hit by the Blunderbusses right there. A little bit of a Spirit Leech on old Festus, and that should be army losses. Yep, so there it is. Nice win. Yeah, not really too much to talk about there. I mean, he went with a melee build and kind of just got crushed to a degree. A lot of stuff just really doesn't get much value, so not really a lot to talk about there. Let's move on to the next game. It is a best of 3, so if Cool Umbrella wins this next one, he will be the Friday night champ. Let's see if Super Mario Fried Chicken can claw this one back. All right. Let's see. Give them a minute, obviously, to get their next faction picks locked in. Peasant's Pasture is going to be the next map. So, we'll see. I'm genuinely curious to see the faction picks that they get. Wouldn't be surprised to see some vampire counts from Super Mario Fried Chicken. Seemed to be very effective at playing them. So, yeah, let's watch for that. But it is Cool Umbrella's pick 3, ban 3. Alright, so Cool Umbrella is going to ban Dark Elves. Or sorry, he's going to pick Dark Elves, Skaven Greenskins, ban Vampire Counts, Ogre Kingdoms, and Vampire Coast. So yeah, actually Counts get banned on this next one. So Cool Umbrella going straight for the kill. Really respect that. Banning a faction that your opponent might be strong in, or that you just might be strong in general. And Dark Elves, Skaven Greenskins is a scary set of destruction factions to go up against. We'll see how they get on. right. Romulan Dov, Team Romulan Dov is true. It's still undefeated. Very much so. These are facts. I need to do another 2v2 tournament soon, honestly. Be a fun time. It's like Super Mario Fried Chicken going to be going Khorne. It's another very straightforward faction. So let's see how it goes for him. And it's going to be up against Greenskins. Oh boy, this should be a fun, bloody time. Yeah, Greenskins versus Khorne is often hilarious. Yeah. Khorne obviously has the melee power to punch against Greenskins, but Greenskins have the flexibility to try and do some different things. They also have the capacity to punch very hard in a straight-up melee, so I don't know about this. Khorne, I think, has decent enough odds here, but I'm not sure they can do it. Honestly, Warhammer's in a decent spot. The multiplayer meta, at least, is the land battle meta is fairly well open. It's not, I mean, there are definitely some things that are quite strong. Both vampires actually are pretty decent, although vampire counts maybe a little bit less so than previously. Chaos Dwarfs are still quite strong, but I expect them to get some, their broken stuff fixed in the next update. Yeah, other factions seem to be... Yeah, Greasus should be an exception. Greasus took a little bit of a buff in the last patch, but he's okay. Quad Doom Diver against Khorne. That seems incredibly risky. Although it'd be fun to watch Valkia try and dodge 4 Doom Divers. Because, I mean, Doom Divers, of course, I'm a big fan of them as an anti-air artillery, because they seem, at least in my experience in Warhammer 2, I don't know if this is true in Warhammer 3, I haven't tried it much, but in my experience, they're able to fairly consistently hit flying units. So it'd be hilarious to watch Valkia try and dodge all that. Doom Divers in general are just a hilarious unit. You don't see them super often because they're not wildly cost effective, and people don't typically think of Greenskins as an artillery faction, but I actually should start trying out some more Doom Diver builds and kind of see where they're at, because I'm going to be honest, not a unit that I've taken, I don't think, once in Warhammer 3, so yeah. I gotta go, like, research my own builds from the past for Greenskins, because, they can do so many different things. Like, I remember back in the day, I used to take, like, Skarsnik, a couple Black Orcs, some Orc Bows, right? There's like I'm trying to think, I think it was an anti-Lizardman matchup specifically, but yeah, Doom Diver, mix one of those in there as well. Greenskins they can do a lot, surprising amounts, so I'm curious to see what they've got here, but let me go ahead and update this. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Done. Yeah, Demon Valkyrie just dodging screaming gobos. Oh, yeah. Definitely in for a good time. Who is the worst Legendary Lord? I actually think Tretch is not that bad. Tretch can be really good, actually, in the right circumstances. Worst Legendary Lord in the game right now? That's tricky. That's honestly tricky. I'd have to think about that one a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Thinking through right now, there's not a lot of really truly terrible lords that I can think of. Gorok Queek is down there for sure. I mean, he's okay. He has only a little bit of limited utility. Same for Gorok. Gorok arguably has less utility, so probably Gorok would be up there for me. I don't know, though. I mean, he's still reasonably tanky. Katep? No, actually, Katep is very strong in multiplayer. His ability to shut down your opponent's like magic and ability to use abilities, obviously, if you're spamming his cheap spells, can be really annoying. Yeah, Greasus is probably up there still. Oh no, Kugath is the best Lord in the game right now. Yeah. No, Kugath, I would maybe put Kugath as the #1 overall Lord right now. Actually, he's super expensive, but he's functionally impossible to kill in melee. For 1v1, he can beat any unit in the game, pretty much. For a lot of factions, too, it's functionally impossible to kill him in melee. The only thing that really makes him vulnerable is a huge, slow target, so he's vulnerable to missiles, obviously, but for factions that lack missiles, Kugath is impossible. And even for factions with missiles, if Nurgle has the right build around him, they can definitely get the job done. So I would say Kugath is one of the top lords in the game, for sure. At least in land battles. Other people might disagree and say that he's terrible in domination, but yeah, the Nurgling cannons, yeah, they do quite a bit of damage. They can hit single target damage reasonably hard. Yeah, they're he's decent for sure. I mean, he's more decent. He's incredibly strong. Is Nurgle a good faction? Yes, Nurgle's S tier right now. I know, right? Builds on both sides. So for Cool Umbrella, he's got Dance and Wurzag here. Oh yeah, just absolutely getting it. We've got Crimson Killers, a couple of Black Orcs, and some Goblins. And then Spider Rider Archers and Debiggin, the Rogue Idol Regiment of Renown. Very good choice in this matchup. For Khorne, it looks like just a bunch of Khorne warriors are chosen. Are they all chosen? What? Oh, okay. So there's 6 chosen here. Kalita's actually okay too. I don't totally hate Kalita. She has some mobility, she has some punching power. Yeah, Gorst is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know actually. Bloodbrute Behemoth here and the Herald of Khorne, so it doesn't get more Khorne than this, I feel. It's just, you know, very, very straightforward. You know, elite infantry, go kill, basically. Let's see if they can actually do that effectively, but... Stool hand weapon Khorne axes, of course. Ready to have some fun. Yeah, Kalita is a decent duelist. She is, for sure. And she's got decent mobility. She's got poison. She's got a lot going for her. She's not bad at all. Yeah, Tomb Kings don't really have any bad lords. Vampire Coast and Vampire Counts don't really have any bad legendary lords. I mean, Arnessa may be down there, arguably, but even we saw in this tournament stream her doing very good things, honestly. So, yeah, Slanesh, they're all decent. Azazel's okay in the right circumstance. Yeah, 3, there's not as many completely useless legendary lords. It's true. A lot of them have some merit, and you can make them work in the right circumstance. Can you bring 2 Rogue Idol? I'm not sure. I'd have to check the rule set. I believe yes. I didn't see anything about it being limited to 1, but man, this 5-6 chosen of Khorne build. That's so much chosen to try and get through. I really hope Wurzag brought some AoE damage. He did not. I mean, he brought Brain Burster, but that's not going to be enough. Because there's not enough Black Orcs in this build, definitely, to kill all these Chosen. Not sure. I think dual hand weapon Chosen of Khorne beat Black Orcs anyway, probably. Not sure. But the Sword of Cygor Rock, not super accurate. It's going to miss a few times painfully. Khorne Chosen taking absolutely no damage so far. Yeah, Goblins only with 2 Rogue Idols. That is the problem. But no, actually, I take it back. He did have 2 Rogue Idols. Where was this other Rogue Idol hiding? I only saw the big one at first. Yeah, so he does have two Rogue Idols. Quite strong, honestly. I don't know. This other one was hiding. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for Cool Umbrella to just sit back and use the big and shooting attack to its best effect. So I'm not really surprised he's not counter-rushing here, but does mean it's going to take some time for this to start to play out here. But finally, the big one starts to get some hits there. Kills about 5 Chosen on that volley. He's used up a decent amount of his ammunition already. But of course, he can always generate more by sacrificing his own HP if necessary. Yes. Oh, nice square hit right into the center of that formation. That does some decent damage. So yeah, so far it's got some, about 400 damage value-ish, a little less, but pretty close. Yeah, too bad Khorne Chosen can't take halberds. That would have been hilarious. But, I mean, the shielded Khorne Chosen also, 56, 55 with 52 weapon strength. That's just insane. Absolutely insane. Crimson Killers, though, I mean, 50 attack with +8 bonus versus infantry on 50 weapon strength as well, 30 AP. See how they trade here. I would expect the Rogue Idols to just immediately come forward and smash in melee, but here comes the Blood Brute as well. Blood Brute's going to be reasonably decent at fighting. Yeah, looks like he's just got his sights locked in on this big boulder boy here. The Rogue Idol moving in to try and combat. We immediately see a Fists of Gork on him. Up to 96 melee attack. Effigy to get also on the Blood Brute to try and pin him in place. Big old bop there by the Rogue Idol. Unfortunately, the Rogue Idol does have extremely slow attack animations, which is definitely going to be a problem, but so far, the Khorne Chosen are trading just fine. We see an Here We Go also popped by Wurzag, going to give a nice map-wide attack buff up to 102 melee attack for these Crimson Killers, 110 with that +8 bonus versus infantry. So definitely all their hits will be doing a lot of damage to these Khorne Chosen. But that said, the Khorne Chosen are also going to be fighting back very strong, obviously. The full surround has been executed, and the Goblins are only going to be holding out for a limited amount of time, obviously, in that back line. Wurzag urging his troops on. Come on, give us a jig, Wurzag. Ah, he's too angry. He was dancing just a minute ago, but now he's too busy taunting those Chosen behind him. We do see a Wah get popped here. That's going to give another big damage spike, and one Chosen's already down. One of the Chosen dual hand weapons. The rest of the Chosen here in the center engagement are definitely struggling. The Blood Brute Behemoth hasn't taken too much damage, has been able to regenerate through everything it has taken so far. But these Black Orcs trading super cost-effective into Chosen right now for the most part. The 3 that are in the front line, at least. We're going to see another Fists of Gork here as well, up to 72 attack. That extra Bonewood Staff giving just that little bit extra to get over the top and really smash these shielded Khorne Warriors. Fighter Rider Archers also are here, providing some poison. I'm not really sure what they're shooting at, to be honest. Probably just whatever. To be honest, all of this Khorne stuff has high weapon strength, so anything you can do to reduce the weapon strength of any of those units is going to be great. And, I mean, the center's going well for the Greenskins. Everywhere else is going fairly poorly, though, as to be expected. Goblins getting massacred by Khorne Chosen. The Blood Brute is also trading very well. The Rogue Idol here, Debiggin, has taken a lot of damage, still has 6,000 HP left. But, I mean, the Blood Brute with just such faster attack animations is pretty tough. Black Orcs here also get fully surrounded by Khorne Chosen. Never a good position for them to be in. Khorne Chosen on the one side are not quite routed off, so they can't fully turn around to, you know, fight this Khorne Chosen here, although it looks like they will be able to relatively shortly. But the Biggin might be going down here soon, honestly, which is a big, big loss for the Greenskins, obviously. Will it end up mattering, though? It's hard to say. The Biggin's going to be, of course, dropping rocks the whole time as it's getting wounded as well, and even as it falls, could potentially do some damage. Little Brain Burster there to proc the Bonewood Staff, and it looks like the Biggin is falling. So let's watch, actually, the impact as it falls on some of these Khorne Chosen. Yeah, I think it actually did kill a couple unit models right there. It's not quite enough to rout this unit off, but question is, can the other Rogue Idol with its 10,000 remaining HP survive against the Blood Brute? Definitely is doing some very solid damage to the Blood Brute right now, and the sort of narrowness of Khorne's build is coming back to bite them to a degree, since these Goblins are able to come back in second waves and get surround here and actually get a here we go. So Goblins with 72 melee attack, they don't have great AP values at all, but they're still getting hits. At least they were momentarily before they all got terrified away, but they were getting hits on those Khorne Chosen, who also get terrified away at about the same time. So it's just a big bloody terror route for everyone. But Spider Riders, ooh, Wurzag's gonna have to be careful. It looks like, oh, this is very dangerous. The Herald of Khorne definitely has the stats to be able to kill Wurzag here straight up, and if Wurzag goes down, that is going to be a victory for Khorne on leadership, I would imagine. Yeah, it's looking pretty grim right now for the Greenskins. Things just turned around in a big, big hurry. But let's see if Wurzag can manage to get away. Maybe to have the Spider Riders wheel around and come screen, perhaps. But the Rogue Idol is definitely suffering here. Wurzag gets Fists of Gork. Not in time to save himself, though. Had he popped that a little bit earlier, he might have been able to actually beat the Herald straight up in combat with his magic damage and the higher stats. Probably could have finished off the Herald there, but instead he gets routed off, and it's looking like a very narrow victory for Khorne, perhaps. We'll see. But Idols. Yep, Khorne's got it. So we'll be going now to a Game 3. Super Mario Fried Chicken able to win out on that one with one of the most hilarious Khorne builds I've ever seen. I mean, mostly it comes down to the Blood Brute, and the Herald also getting a hold of Wurzag there at the end was huge. Had Cool Umbrella been able to protect Wurzag there, probably is able to hold out for the win. Hard to say exactly, but... Or, you know, had Wurzag got that self-buff off in time to be able to actually beat the Herald in combat. Again, maybe it turns out a little bit differently there, but a lot of ifs. Regardless, we're now even on the series 1-1. Update the scoreboard to reflect as such. And we move on to the guaranteed final game. Just 1 second, guys. I'm going to go open up my door because it's getting hot in here. I'll be right back. All right, I am returned here. Yeah. Rogue idols are okay. The problem is their attack animations are so slow that if they whiff their attacks or if they lose their attacks, you know, for whatever reason, yeah, they struggle to actually output the damage that they need to. Cool idea for a unit, but in execution, they're a little bit of a meme. Yeah, those big high-tier monsters often, like, you know, you look at like the Dread Saurian or the Dreadquake Mortar or even the Cathay Destroyer. You know, there's the Rogue Idol. There's a lot of those bigger, like, extremely high-tier monsters are actually not great unless you use them in very specific ways. Even the Rogue Idol, I mean, this is kind of the best use case for them, and even still, I mean, they almost did enough to win. It was pretty close, but yeah. Oh boy, is it double undead? Oh, okay, fine. Fine, you insist on double undead. I suppose we can do it. All right. Now, I wish Rogue Idols were better, but they're just not, unfortunately. Like, actually, I wonder if it's better to just take Giants. Maybe it allows you to go a little bit wider. The Giants don't have as much armor or HP, so they definitely take more damage even just from Chosen, but they're so much cheaper for what they give you. Go so much wider around them and actually take like some... You don't want to take trolls against Khorne, especially Khorne Chosen, but I don't know. Take some Skirmish Cav maybe? Shoot them in the back, especially the armor piercing Regiment Renowned Skirmish Cav. Definitely would include the Mangy Marauders. And I mean, obviously you can't guess that Khorne's going to go with that type of a build, but I actually do think if obviously Cool Umbrella had a lot of bows and was able to kite the Khorne Chosen a little bit, that could have been effective as well. Hard to say, really. But yeah, definitely wouldn't take trolls. Maybe you take Flappas, 4 Flappas, move them in one giant blob to just destroy one flank with the leftover funds you saved. Nasty Skulkers. I mean, I guess, yeah. And Nasty Skulkers would get murdered by Khorne Chosen, but if you got them buffed up, where they were actually dealing damage to the Khorne Chosen, maybe. But I think their stats are too poor. I don't think you can actually buff them up enough, cost efficiently enough. Maybe a big Here We Go with a bunch of Nasty Skulkers, but yeah, if you had a couple Skulkers mixed in with a big wide bow army, then you could use the smoke bombs to really good effect to kind of delay your opponent's advance and make sure you're getting lots of extra damage. Maybe that's a way to do it. I don't know. Definitely tough. Fanatics also, I would think, could be really good here, but maybe not. All right, all right. So, Vampire Counts versus Vampire Coast. Not what I wanted for a final, but here we are. All right. So, Noctilus versus Gorse this time, and oh, is it? Did he really? Cool Umbrella is going to be my absolute hero if he really did it. Did he go double Necrofex? At the very least, he's already my hero for taking the Regiment of Renown Flamethrower Necrofex, which you don't see super often. I used to be a huge fan of it. Haven't really tried it enough in Warhammer 3, to be honest. Yeah, against factions which can't counter-shoot it, in my experience, it has been quite strong, but I don't know. We'll see how it does here. The last time I tried using it, the flamethrower attack, attacked the side of a unit and didn't end up doing any damage whatsoever. So, I mean, against a horde build like this, in theory, it's a really nice tool to just be able to just burn up all the chaff, literally. But let's see how it goes. I really like that pick. Really like that pick. Is Nocti also on his Necro? I don't believe so. It would have been super expensive. You don't see Nocti on his Necro hardly ever these days because it just makes him such a big target. But, yeah, Gallows Giant is here. We've got Lamprey's Revenge, Bloody Reaver Depths Guards, some Animated Hulks. We've got some Deck Droppers, Deck Dropper Bombers, some pistol mobs, lots of halberd mobs, and some dual hand weapon mobs. And then same as before for Super Mario Fried Chicken. Just the triplex of zombies, skeletons, and grave guards with Helmet Gorst and the Necromancer. So not a lot to talk about. Let's just admire for a minute the beautiful Gallows Giant. All crispy. Hot and crispy. Yes. You know how you can tell it's a boy ship? Can you guess? Can you guess how I can tell this is a male Necrofex? Anyway. Let's see what they can do. Yeah, the Burmination here, in theory, is a really nice idea. I mean, the missile attack obviously can just blast chaff very easily, does some leadership damage as well, also applies in melee flaming attacks as well. So, I mean, it's just pretty overall useful unit here. The question is, does he have the tools to kill a Banshee? I'm not sure if he actually does. But it looks like Super Mario Fried Chicken didn't actually bring a Banshee this time, so odd choice. I definitely would have kept the Banshee in the build, even though she ended up getting just Spirit Leech to death last time. Like, Noctilus doesn't have tools to deal with her, actually, so... And I don't think he brought any magic damage whatsoever. Besides, I mean, obviously you have the Wraith Storm, so even like Hex Race or Can Race can be a good option in this matchup if your opponent is not expecting them. Because who expects the Ghostquisition, right? Anyway. He, Necrofex coming forward here, and let's just take a minute to appreciate this unit. Very rarely brought, but I love it. Don't love a lot of things about Undead, but this Regiment of Renown is certainly one of them. Come on, you landlubber, get your flame cannon going. Oh yeah, look at that beautiful double stack, too, of the skeletons and zombies right on top of each other. Oh yeah, look at that. Just absolutely blasts a big old hole through the center of that. What is that? 50 kills, 60 kills in a single volley? One more volley puts him up over 100, so yeah, things are looking pretty good already. Let's see as the flamethrower continues to unleash here. It is going to do some friendly fire damage to those deckhands, but what it means is that you don't have to rely on the bombers, right? You can have another anti-infantry option, and I think that's... Honestly, you could take both. I don't know. I'm actually thinking about it now. I don't know if there's a lot of reason not to actually just take both if you're expecting a giant infantry blob army like this. But yeah, man, side-shotting, especially through these units, is going to do just a brutal amount of damage. You can see it already forces some of these skeleton warriors into crumbling. So, love this pick so far. Yeah, right now he's just trying to blow through the chaff to kind of protect his own zombies, but I might even just start shooting the Sternsmen right away. I mean, I would think that the Vampire Coast's melee units can deal with the low-tier kind of skeletons and zombies, but Cool Umbrella wants to just ensure that fact. He's going to line up another side shot down this here. Looks like another bomber flank, this time by some actual bat bombs into the Sternsmen. Bombs, of course, deal fire damage. They're going to have that damage spike versus any standard regeneration unit. Really nice side shot through that blob as well. So, yeah, Cool Umbrella definitely punishing Super Mario's Fried Chicken's build choice very hard so far, but honestly is not that much damage value. I mean, yes, tactically to clear through the chaff is super important, but look at these guns, too, just pressuring Gorse with their shooting attacks here, not even necessarily needing to engage in melee. Bloody Reaver is also just kind of hanging back for the time being. Let's see. Looks like Gorse is going to get hit by that bombardment. We get summons from Vampire Counts, maybe trying to get back, get on some stuff. But, yeah, the other thing about the Gallows Giant is it does have decent attack animations in melee, obviously. Just point-blank roasting those units is hilarious. We get the Lamprey's Revenge here in the back, trying to get some support against those Blood Knights, kind of block them in. The Blood Knights really didn't get that great of a charge, so Lamprey's Revenge should be able to just take that engagement just fine. It looks like the Bloody Reavers also are going to collapse back on in here. We get the summon from Noctilus as well, just to make sure the Blood Knights can't escape. Locked in with these deckhands, so looking pretty good right now. Cool Umbrella is taking a solid damage value lead. Like 2,300 and climbing, so far so good. And I totally forgot about this thing. Might go play some Vampire Coast at some point soon, just to give the old flame ship, the old fire ship a shot here. Oh yeah, I gotta get those barrels spinning, get that thing unjammed. Kind of a hilarious animation. I don't know if that technically counts as the reload, but anyway. I have to say, the VFX are not wildly impressive. Well, that attack animation is... The actual shooting attack in and of itself, I don't know if something is, like, bugged out about it, or if it's just not displaying properly, but, yeah. Between the bombs and this guy here, it does have plenty of ammunition as well, the Gallows Giant. Now this chicken is indeed fried, right? Definitely roasted, like fire grilled perhaps, but yeah. Blood Knight's struggling to get away here, and just in general, oh man, look at this juicy blob right here. That would be a nice blob to fire into, where Noctilus is kind of stacked up. Looks like setting up for just such a volley. I love the blue on the undead too. Actually, not that big of a fan of the Vampire Count's aesthetic in the base red, but this light blue here of Gorse faction with the white banners is actually really nice. And yeah, we'll just keep it in cinematic cam, mostly just because I want to watch undead burn. Undead burning undead is always a win for the living world, so... Yes. It is interesting, too, that the Balefire is actually going to be providing some flame resistance here, right? So if we think about it, it is actually coming in handy at this current point in time to offer that flame resistance. 20% fire resistance is not a ton, but it does help a little bit. Although against something with this high of missile damage, it really doesn't, to be honest, if you're just a regular infantry bro. Yeah, balance of power turning very heavily in Cool Umbrella's favor at this point, so Ah, the Gallows Giant. I love it. Yeah, like the blue and white color schemes and the black and gold color schemes, for me, I think are the best looking in the game, generally. Yeah, overall, I would say those tend to be my favorite color schemes for most factions, would be either black and gold or the white and blue. The Bloody Reavers also getting in here. Don't really look like they're doing much by the way of attack animations. They're just kind of dancing here, but oh, the Gallows Giant. Oh man, such an absolutely brutal unit. And like a lot of people I think forgot about this. Explosion damage was buffed in Immortal Empires, and I don't know that anyone ever checked to see how the Gallows Giant was affected by that. I know, I think I brought it once, and it just died to archers or something else, and I didn't end up even trying it again, but... oh, man. This type of situation, or against, like, Slaanesh would be tricky because of the speed of Slaanesh, but I could definitely see this thing working out well against, like, Nurgle, perhaps. I probably wouldn't try against Khorne or Tzeentch either, but Nurgle definitely I would try against. Oh my, 677 kills, 55,000 damage dealt, 55,000. That is a ridiculous number, absolutely ridiculous number, and 600 kills. I mean, that's like a campaign battle almost, those kind of numbers. And even then, it's barely over 2,000 damage value. Is it so good against Slaanesh? I would have thought that Slaanesh would be too fast and they'd be able to charge it down quickly enough, but I guess it does enough damage that whatever does get in contact with it is going to get wrecked anyway. But yeah, really, I'll have to try it, Cool Umbrella, against Slaanesh. I'll definitely have to give it a shot, because it's one of my favorite units in the game, low-key. Yeah, Bloody Reavers, the Lamprey's Revenge help protect. Just overall great performance. Yeah, look at these deck droppers. Basic deck dropper pistols, almost 1,700 value. That's like 5x value. Well, maybe not quite, but yeah, super legit value for sure. The rest of the army kind of handles its business here. Yeah, on Gore's side, not any of these units pay for themselves is what I would guess, and I think that's largely correct. So, beautiful stuff. Very well played to Cool Umbrella. Big thanks to him for putting this together as well. He hosts the tournament and he wins it, which is just amazing. Yeah, Friday Night Fights, definitely a lot of fun. This is something that is hosted on a weekly basis, so if you want to get in next week, be sure to keep your eyes on my Discord or any Discord where tournaments are posted, and you'll see an announcement. Feel free to join on up. I think there's more tournament action later today, featuring the Land Battles with Caps mod, if I'm not mistaken, by Gojira, so be sure to check that out. That's going to be it for me for today, so thank you so much, Fiverr, for the strat game. Thank you for the caster, and thank you for the Fiverr, and yeah, for watching and everything. So you guys are the absolute best.